All right, happy Friday. This lesson is really, really important. So in your PDN, you should have put what you wanted to be when you grow up. Maybe you don't know, maybe you do. I didn't know at your age, and that's okay. But we're going to start talking about a possible future college. So I would have loved to be able to do this lesson in person with you, and I would have walked through how to do the research. But that's not an option. So we're going to do like a brief version of that. And the reason we do this is one, to start thinking about colleges. It's never too early. And two, on promotion, when we have like a promotion slide, it's going to have your college. And if you guys remember at KAC, I know it's been a while, on the stairs, you saw those slides like on the walls of the 8th graders from last year, where it has their high school and also their future college. So we're going to have those of you in the school next year. So we need to know your future college. Again, remember, this is not set in stone. If you write it down today, it doesn't mean you're going there. So you don't need to freak out, but this is just to get you thinking. So you should be on the part that says college interest survey. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read these to you, and you're just going to check your answer. Most of them say check all that apply because maybe you're not sure. Maybe a couple answers sound okay to you. That's fine. This is just for you. There's no right or wrong answer, just to get you thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. First one, I would like to go to a school that is, and check all that apply. A, far from home, which means you need to fly to get back and forth. You might not be able to come home a lot. So that means maybe going to school out in California, maybe out in New York, maybe international, like another country. But realistically, because you have to fly there, you might not be able to come home that often. Or maybe you want to go a medium distance from home. So you have to take a long drive to come home. So maybe it's somewhere like in Kentucky or something like that, where you could drive there, but it's a pretty long drive, and so you still might not be able to come home that often. Like you probably wouldn't be able to come home just for a weekend, but you could probably come home for the longer breaks. Maybe you want to go close to home, meaning a short drive. So maybe you want to go somewhere like the University of Illinois, a couple hours away. You could drive there and be back in a weekend. Maybe you want to be in the city of Chicago, so you don't even want to leave the city. You want to stay right here. That would be close to home. Or maybe it just doesn't matter. So maybe you said like, I want to be close or medium. Maybe you said I want to be far or medium. Like, I don't want to be close at all. Or maybe it just doesn't matter. Like how far it is has nothing to do with how you're going to make your choice. I know for me, I wanted to be far. I wanted to get away. Nothing was wrong here, but I wanted to go see a different city, see a different spot. So this to me was a big deal. It's how I ended up, even though I grew up in the Chicago area, I ended up going to school in Boston. But maybe it doesn't matter to you. So check your answer, and we're moving on. I would like to go to a school that is located in, so this sort of has to do with the one above. A, Chicago. B, the Midwest. So again, check all that apply. So Midwest would be states like Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, so on. The South, so schools like Texas, Florida, New Orleans, which is in Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, those would all be the South. There's more, obviously. The East Coast, so like New York, Massachusetts, Delaware, Rhode Island, North Carolina, South Carolina. Those would be the East Coast. Or the West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington. I would consider Colorado to be sort of the West Coast, and so on. So also just a quick reminder, if you're confused by this, shoot me a text right now, and I will definitely help you go through this. But to check all that apply, maybe you're like, I know I want to be in Chicago. Maybe you're like, I know I want to go to either the West Coast or the South because I'm ready for some warm weather. Maybe you know you want to stay in the Midwest, so just check your answer. All right, I want to go to a school that is. Remember, if I'm ever moving too fast for you, you can pause the video. All right, I want to go to a school that is large, meaning over 15,000 students. So a large school with over 15,000, like you'll meet kids and you'll have your friends, but you're not going to know a lot of the people. You're going to see unfamiliar faces every day. You might start to have some of the same people in your classes as you choose majors. But I went to a large school, and like usually I only knew like one or two other people in my classes at most because it was such a big school. Medium, 5,000 to 15,000. So same thing, like a lot of unfamiliar faces, but as you get into your specific program, it'll start to be smaller. You'll see more familiar faces. Small, less than 5,000 students. So my brother went to a small school. He ran track at Emory. And he said that it got to the point where like you knew most people, even if you didn't know their name, like you knew their faces, it felt very familiar. And then maybe it just doesn't matter. Maybe size has nothing to do with it for you, but go ahead and check your answer. Maybe you know large or medium. Maybe you know you could do small or medium, but definitely not large, so you can check more than one. All right, I'm moving on. If you need more time, pause me. Is the weather important to you? A, yes, I am sick of Chicago weather and I want somewhere that is nice out all the time. B, yes, I like having all 4 seasons and I want to be somewhere that experiences all 4 seasons like Chicago, meaning you want the snow, you want the cold. Maybe C, nope, I'm going to school to learn. The weather doesn't matter. Or other, maybe there's some other answer you have to that. So think about weather. I know for me, I didn't really care. Like, it didn't matter to me. I was like, I've grown up in Chicago. I've seen it all. I don't care. My little brother, not the one who went to Emory, but so my brother Adam ran track at Emory in Atlanta, where it is nice out, but it didn't have to do with the weather why he chose it. My little brother went to California. He just graduated this weekend from the University of Southern California. He wanted somewhere warm. He was like, I hate the cold. I want to go somewhere warm. So that's a prep choice you could make. All right, my ideal school colors would be, let me just say, this is not a reason to pick a school. Please don't pick your school based on the colors, but this is just a fun question. So maybe you're like, I'm so tired of that kit blue. Please take me out of blue. I don't know. Write down the colors you would love. Again, this is just for fun. Go ahead. All right, I'm gonna move on. If you need more time, you're really into colors, pause me. All right, how do you feel about sports at your school? Check all that apply. First one, I want sports to be a big deal at my school. I want the athletic teams to be good, and I want sports to be, and I want sports, sorry, it's gonna look different when you do it. I'm on the edit page. So what's happening is I'm looking at my screen and my answers are getting cut off the way it is. So just give me 1 second. I apologize to you. Let me get to where that is. Because I wrote this and the answers are getting cut off on my version of it. All right, let's try that again. I want sports to be a big deal at my school. I want the athletic teams to be good, and I want sports to be a big part of the school culture. So this would be a school, I would say, maybe like if you think of like Georgia, if you think of like Georgia football, that is a huge part of their school's culture. Tailgating is a big deal. Football Saturdays are like a really big deal. It's probably talked about a lot. Their football team is really good, and so on. Same with like Alabama. Same with if you go to school like Duke, where basketball is like a really big deal. A lot of the Big Ten schools like Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, like they're really big into their sports. And so people tailgate, they go to the games, it gets talked about a lot. And their teams typically do well enough. All right, the next one, I want the school to have some interest in sports, but I don't want sports to be a main part of the culture. So this would be maybe a school like Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is like a really, really good school. And so yes, like sometimes they have like a basketball team or whatever that's doing pretty well and people might get into it, but it's not going to be like the main culture there. You're not going to go there and like always be doing stuff relating to sports. And first of all, wherever you go, if you don't like sports, you don't have to pay attention to it. But this is just something to think about. The next one, I want to play a sport at school. So maybe you checked A or B, but also now this one, because you want to actually play a sport wherever you go. All right, this one, I want to go to a school where sports are not important at all. I'm sick of hearing about sports. Last one, you don't care if sports are a big deal. So maybe like you like sports, it's not really important to you when you're picking a college. So pick your answers. Again, you can check more than one, whatever sounds appealing to you. All right, moving down. All right, historically Black colleges and universities. So we have a stat here, basically just showing how like there's a lot of statistics out there. I encourage you to do the research. If we were in person, we would do the research, but that HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, have like really impressive statistics for Black students. So if you don't want to go to HBCU, it's totally fine. But if you do, it's a really, really good option. There's something called like an idea of culture shock for anyone, right? That's when you're thrown into something that's really different from what you're used to. And so when you're used to being around a lot of people that look like you, that maybe sound like you, maybe have a lot of similar interests to you, it can be a really big shock to then go to a college where you're now one of the only like Black students in your classes. You can without a doubt handle that. You can do whatever you want to do. But so some students have found that going to an HBCU, being with people that they can relate to, being with people that are where they're not in culture shock can be really helpful. And on top of that, HBCUs are just awesome schools. There's awesome Black professors there, like just awesome role models, awesome academics, there's sports, there's just like, amazing things about HBCUs. And so if you're unsure about like whether an HBCU would be right to you, reach out to somebody right now. Talk to somebody in your family. Reach out. If you still talk to Mr. Childs, I believe he went to Morehouse, which is an HBCU. Reach out to him. I wish I could be more of a resource about this, but for obvious reasons, like I did not go to an HBCU. But reach out to like Black teachers you still talk to and say, hey, what do you think about HBCUs? Do you think that's a good idea for me to think about? If you're stuck and you have questions, or again, I can still talk to you about it as well. But the main point about that is, do you want to go to an HBCU? Yes, no, not sure, or other. So that's something to think about as you're researching. Some HBCUs like Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, I am like blanking out. Spelman, so Morehouse and Spelman are like together. All of our homerooms, so I said Clark Atlanta, FAMU, Howard, and there's more. So you could definitely look those up. All right, is there anything else important to you for a college? Write down anything else that's important. Once you've done this, on the next page, what's gonna happen is there's gonna be some links for you to research. Please try to do some extra research. Those lists are just helpful to you. And then once you know the colleges you want, maybe you're like, I've heard of some colleges, then you can start looking up just those colleges. And the final thing you'll be turning in is just the college you picked, so that I can record that down for you for promotion and for the hallway next year. Again, please join office hours if you want to talk about this. Call me, text me, reach out to other teachers. If you want to hear their opinion, we're all here to help you. If you don't need help, go ahead and enjoy. Happy Friday. Make sure you've done all the rest of your work from this week and have a wonderful week.